Hey guys, it's Ashley Simone here. I hope you guys had an amazing Thursday. Tonight I'm going to be talking about the book of Daniel. I'm gonna just go ahead and just jump right into it. Daniel was 16 years old when he was carried into exile. Daniel is known for God's revelation and refusal to be a part of a pagan culture. He just didn't fit in. His name was changed to Belteshazzar or something crazy. It kind of sounds like Nebuchadnezzar, but with a B, which means the name meant favorite of Bala, which was a god, some type of god they worship. Hey guys, it's Ashley Simone here. I hope you guys had an amazing Thursday. I am going to be talking about Daniel tonight. Daniel was a prophet who refused to be a part of a pagan culture. He didn't fit in. He wasn't about to do what everybody else was doing. In chapters 1 through 6, Daniel was carried into exile at the age of 16. They wanted to change his name to a name that meant favor of Bala or whatever his name is, some type of god that they was worshiping who didn't need to be worshipped. And Daniel refused to become the prophecy given by his name. He would become the least favorite. He would rather be the least favorite of Bala and be a chosen instrument of God. The first 6 chapters, they really show Daniel's and others' refusal to participate in the Babylonians' practices, to adopt Babylonian cultures. Daniel refused to eat what the people ate in chapter 1. In chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. He had a really bad dream, and he wanted to know what the dream meant. But he didn't want just anybody to come telling him what his dreams meant, because there was a lot of false prophets around there. So he demanded that the person tell him what he dreamt and tell him what the dream meant. So Daniel was the only person who could do this. God showed him or told him what the dream was and gave him the interpretation to the dream. And that's how King Nebuchadnezzar should have known that Daniel was the truth. But obviously he didn't believe. It wasn't that he didn't believe. Obviously he didn't believe, but Daniel told him for him to request that type of knowledge, you had to know that was from a real God, but he didn't believe. And the dream that was told to him was a statue that was in 4 different pieces. Each piece represented an empire of the ancient world. And as he saw this statue in his dream, a big stone came out of the sky and it hit the feet of the statues, and the statue came tumbling down. And then the stone turns into a mountain and fills the whole earth. So all of those ancient cities that statue represented came tumbling down when that rock out of the sky came. And that rock out of the sky was Jesus Christ. This dream was prediction of the next 1,000 years. And after that, the king Nebuchadnezzar promoted Daniel, and Daniel was working in the palace. And like I said earlier, Nebuchadnezzar, obviously he didn't fear God, because this man goes and still builds a golden statue of himself, and Nebuchadnezzar demanded that everybody bow down and worship that statue. And Daniel and his friends was like, no, we ain't doing that. We refuse to do that. I don't bow down to nobody but God. Nobody but God. Then, because he refused to do that, they was thrown into a fiery furnace. But, as everybody know that story, they didn't get burned. And there was a fourth person in that fiery furnace with them, which was an angel, not maybe, but everybody knows it was Jesus Christ, God himself, in that burning, that fiery furnace with those people. And they didn't even get burned. Just think about that. Have you ever felt like you just been in a fiery furnace? Like, just being attacked or just going through one thing after another. But while you're going through this fiery furnace, while you're in this fiery furnace, God is right there beside you the whole time. He won't let you fall. He won't let the attacks of the enemy stop you from doing what he has called you to do. Have you ever been there before? And when they came out, they still refused to be a part of the culture that surrounded them. They were surrounded by so much negativity, so much no's. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to eat those things. No, I'm not going to believe those things. But yes, I will serve the God that I serve, the one and only true God there is, the living God. Yes, I will do those things. But no, I will not bow down to you. And so after that, Nebuchadnezzar had another dream about a large tree, and Daniel interpreted that for him, and it came to pass right then and there. And Nebuchadnezzar basically became crazy. He was acting like a beast for 7 years, eating grass and everything. And I believe God put him through that to humble himself. Like, I am who I say I am. Who are you to question me? Who are you to go against me? Who are you to out of the crazy thing is, the God, the one and only God that I serve, that you serve, his heart is so big. Even after Nebuchadnezzar went crazy, God still blessed him after those 7 years. Even though this man didn't believe in him and worshipped himself, basically, God still allowed him to regain his mind at the end of the 7 years. But at the end of that, the next king comes in, and he was having some type of party in the palace, and there was a hand writing on the wall at the party. And of course, Daniel was the only one who could come and interpret what the writing was on the wall. And he told the king, that the kingdom of the Babylonians was coming to an end. Just like that, Daniel said to the king, it was coming down. Whether you believe it or not, this kingdom is coming down. And that night, that's what happened. Another ancient city came and took over the empire. And the thing is, I believe it's called the Medes and Persians or something like that. I can't pronounce these places, but that was one of the people who came and brought down the Babylonians, was one of the ancient cities that was a part of that statue and that dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. So these people were doing bad. They were a part of that statue, those 4 different parts of that statue that Nebuchadnezzar saw in his dream and that David interpreted to him, they were part of that statue who got struck down by the rock from out of the sky. So even though that they took the Babylonians down, they were going down too. And some of those people who they the king from that empire, he was telling people that it was basically illegal to pray. And Daniel, he wasn't stopping that either. Daniel was going to pray, and Daniel basically got the death sentence, and that's when they put him in the pits with the lions. Little did they know, the lions were Daniel's best friends. Like, they expected those lions to eat him up, but no. When they found Daniel in there the next morning, he was petting the lions, sleeping, just sitting there, worshiping God, praying. You about to stop what? Who? Oh. Nah. Daniel was good, saved, and just chilling. And at the end of the book, Daniel has 4 different visions. And the thing is, these last 4 visions that he had, he couldn't interpret them. He didn't know what they meant. So he had to call upon God and ask God, like, Lord, tell me what these visions mean, because I don't understand. Like, what do they mean? What are you trying to tell me? I don't understand it. It was very odd not to be able to interpret these dreams that he had. And the first one was the beast, the ram, and the goat. And hold on. 4 terrifying beasts. The Babylon, it was the 4 different empires that was in that statue. Those were the beasts that he was seeing. And what it was saying was, coming with the clouds from heaven, one like a son of man, to him was given dominion and glory in the kingdom, that all people should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away. So, seeing those 4 beasts, that is what dream was, the ram and the goat. And if I said that wrong earlier, y'all, I'm sorry. But the second dream was the ram and the goat. And Daniel couldn't figure out what this dream meant. So he had to go to God and ask for help and understanding. And God sent an angel to him explaining the dream. Of course it was, I believe it was Gabriel. Oh, yeah, it was Gabriel. I just love Gabriel, y'all. Daniel got so sick after all of this. He was stuck in bed for 4 days. Y'all ever been just studying or doing what God has told you to do, or just going through these tests and trials, and after you didn't come through, after just not even coming through, but just God to give you a little break? Sometimes something may happen. You might get hurt. Something will happen. You might just get sick, and sometimes you ain't really sick. You may feel like you're sick, but sometimes that's just God telling you, rest. Rest. Even God rested. We gotta rest. We gotta rest. God, he might not sleep. He don't sleep, but he did rest on that 7th day back in the book of Genesis. So it's important to rest, y'all. Rest. And then Daniel prays a huge prayer for the repentance for his people in exile. And Gabriel, the angel, comes to him and shows him a vision of 70 weeks to come. The first 69 weeks are about the rebuilding of Jerusalem and Israel after the exile and the death of the Messiah. The last week of the 70 years that leads up to the return of Messiah Jesus Christ to earth in the future. And in chapter 10, Daniel is greeted by the same messenger Ezekiel saw. The And this messenger greeted Daniel with love. It says, "Oh Daniel, greatly loved." And he tells him what David talks about in chapter 11 of his book. And he says he foretells the impossible details, things that would happen centuries in the future. Chapter 12 ends the book with comfort and clarity. And it says, chapter 12, verse 3 says, "Those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the sky above, and those who turn many to righteousness, like the stars forever and ever." And the end of the vision, Daniel is standing by two people by a river. He asked them, "What are they talking about?" They say, "It's sealed up in a book into the end." Verse 13, it says, "Go your way till the end, and you shall rest and shall stand in your adulted place at the end of days." And that's the end of my notes, y'all. So I think my favorite part of Daniel, the book of Daniel, is that end part. And I'm going to reread it one more time. And it says, "I'm standing by two people by a river. Oh, who could these two people be?" It's a good feeling to be in the presence of God. Nothing could ever top that. Once you know how to get in the presence of God, once you know how to tap into that, it ain't nothing that can make you feel better than being in his presence, especially when you need him the most. He's always there, but to feel him is a different story. To feel him and to know that you feel him is a different story. And Daniel, he saw them in a vision, and a vision is just as real because that's him coming to you. And he was standing by him and Jesus and the Father, God and Jesus. And he asked them what they was talking about, and they didn't tell him, but they did give him a little clue saying, "Go your way till the end, and you shall rest, and you shall stand in your adultery." I don't know what that word, but you should stand in your place at the end of days. So you're going to be right up there. Right up there. Well done, Daniel, my good and faithful servant. Well done. And y'all, we should be fighting to get right up there too. We got to. Daily. Daily it's a fight. But luckily all we got to do is stand. We don't have to fight with flesh and blood. We don't have to fight with flesh and blood. We don't have to fight with flesh and blood. Because we have already won. Well done, my great and faithful servant. And I know we all want to hear that. So let's do our part to get there. It's a blessing being here on earth, but it's an even bigger blessing to get to our Father and our brothers and sisters up in heaven. We got to fight to get there. Not physically, but spiritually. So y'all, I pray that y'all have a good night, and I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Bye.